Yes lads, what's going on? Welcome back to yet another little Premier League video. Today we're going to be doing my Premier League Game Week 2 prediction. We're just going to get straight into it. First game, Friday Night Football, is West Ham versus Chelsea. You know, they both had not the best starts, I'd say, I'm playing that. You know, either team would have preferred. West Ham got annihilated up in Newcastle, and Chelsea got held. I'd say Palace deserved the win against Chelsea, me personally. But the thing is, I think Chelsea's pure golfing quality is just going to overhaul West Ham. I don't think Bowen can hold off, you know, the whole Chelsea team, like Palmer, João Pedro. I don't think he can do it. And I don't think West Ham's defence will stop. I think Manson, goalkeeper, gets great. I think he's going to struggle this season. So I'm going 2-0 Chelsea. I don't think West Ham have the firepower, but I don't think Chelsea are going to annihilate them. Their form from the first game against Crystal Palace late. Moving on, 12:30. As Gandhi said, never trust the early kickoff. However, it's City versus Spurs. As you can tell, I am a City fan, and I believe it's going to be 3-1 to City. Obviously, Thomas Frank and Spurs have got a great record against. But again, I think Pep Guardiola, he finds a way. Added Reinders and Aidori, playing multiple different. That's just gonna be too much for Frank to handle. And again, the firepower, Erling Haaland, you can't handle him, especially on the opening game week. Erling Haaland hit minutes. So 3-1 City. And I mean, if you want goal scorers, I'd say in the Chelsea game, I'd go Palmer and I can see Neto scoring. Palmer and Neto. In this Spurs game, I think Haaland gets 2. And then I think I'll move forward. And for Spurs, I think I think Brennan Johnson. Right, moving on. Bournemouth, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, Wolves, not a great start, but Man City first game, not ideal, never ideal. And Bournemouth did surprisingly well, in my opinion, against Liverpool. I didn't expect them to do that well. I think they caught a lot of people by surprise. The menu is fantastic play. I think he's going to get picked up by the end of next season, maybe even in January. To be honest, but I think Bournemouth's changed, and I think that's going to get them over the line with a 2-0 win. And who knows? Because I think Wolves, Bournemouth's defending that bad. I think they slightly regressed last season. The person in Trafford is the left back, Kirk's replacement. I think he's going to be one of their best players this season. And Diakate and Senesi. I mean, obviously, Ian Howson and Barney can't really replace him with Nessie, obviously, on the bench. But I think they are going to put up a proper shift this. Yeah, I think they're going to attract a lot of people, and despite all the losses. Well, not in a game, but in financial departments. Brentford Villa is the next 3 o'clock kickoff. Obviously, at Brentford, Villa away. Again, neither team really impressed. Brentford got, I won't say battered, but got a Nottingham Forest. Obviously, the late goal, but I mean penalty. You know, you're not going to get that every game. And Villa were held by Newcastle. Again, I think Newcastle deserved more than a point away from home. But I think again, Villa's firepower is Brentford, and I can see this being 3-0 Villa. I don't think Brentford score again. I don't think Thiago's good enough to do some serious damage against the European defence. Obviously, Inez for the villain. Moving on, next 3 o'clock, Burnley Sunderland, Championship affair. However, people think Burnley are going to keep it. Where they got that from, to be honest. In the Championship last season, at Burnley, they drew 0-0. That's 1-0. That initially just says to me that Burnley aren't better than Sunderland. And on top of that, Burnley have, I'd say, maybe not got worse, but they've lost more important players in having. James Trafford, Egan Riley's been released, Josh Brown here, and they've brought in. What have they brought in? Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker is that next step up from Egan Riley. Obviously, he's a bit better. Actually, he might not be. Egan Riley might be better than Kyle Walker at this moment in time. I think Sunderland, following the momentum they've got off that first win against West Ham, absolutely score through. I'm going to. I think Ray Nilda looked very good against West Ham. Diarra, whatever. What a player! And obviously Xhaka players like that. And against Burnley last season, benched Ballard and Mayenda, who you'd argue are starters. Well, they are starters now. They're massive improvement on play in the past against Burnley. R5. That football. You've got Arsenal versus Leeds. I'm gonna Arsenal. Yeah, and I think Arsenal are gonna find it tricky to get Gyökeres off the mark, but I think he will score. Oh, sorry, goal scorers. Apologies. My apologies. Villa, what did I say? 3-0. Watkins goals 2, and I think Elam does. Sunderland, Burnley, I think Xhaka will score, and I think Mayenda will score. Arsenal Leeds 2-0 Arsenal. Gyökeres will score, but will score later on. He'll play all the 90, I think, but he'll score 80th odd minute. 80th. I think Xhaka in the first half will open the score in Emirates. Moving on, Sunday, Palace Forest. Either team could, but me personally, Palace are at home. They've just lost Eze. I think they'll get the job done. Palace. I think the likes of Munoz and Mitchell on the flank, Mateta up front is too much for Forest. I think again Forest have him from last season. I'd argue Palace have regressed a bit. They've lost Eze. That again is a loss. But I think we're going to underrate how, when Drogba used to Chelsea, obviously Drogba loads of goals. When Drogba didn't play for Chelsea, more goals. I think that's going to be the case with Eze. I think Kamada's going to start instead of Eze. And I'm injured. I don't know if he isn't injured. And I don't think that Eze and Kamada is that big. I think it is like everyone's talking about Eze being up here and Kamada being down here. Or like it's not that big of a difference. I don't think. And again, Ishmael Assar, those kind of players that have bought in this. With how he hasn't been by any big six club yet, or even Real Madrid or any international team, is a myth. Move on, other 2 o'clock game, Everton Brighton. Everton, ropey start, lost the lead, and when I was watching the game, I'm not gonna lie, Everton really have a foot in it. I never was looking at that game and thought to myself, Everton are going to win it. Even get a point here, me, it always looked like Leeds were going to be the team to make something happen. And Brighton against Fulham, very unlucky, I think. Obviously, I mean, a pen isn't. A pen for me is a bit of a cop out of a goal. I mean, unless they were going to score if I'm ball on the line or what. So, but I think Fulham were very lucky to get a point out of that, and Brighton were very unlucky to get a point out. They should have gone home with all 3. I think Brighton are going to win 2-1. I think it's at Everton. They say it's a home fixture. Their first game at the new stadium, Hill Dickinson, wherever it is. But the way I see that is it's the away game for both. Obviously, Everton may have had training sessions on there, maybe had a pre-season friendly. One game isn't often. I don't think that like United have been playing at Old Trafford for years, decades, and even they don't look good at Old Trafford. So I don't think Everton are the home game of Everton. But again, the crowd's going to be up for it, no doubt about that. I think Brighton again. I think golfing qualities. I think Hurtson is better than Moyes as a manager, and I think Brighton are better. Half 4, the penultimate game of the weekend. Fulham host Manchester United. Obviously, Man United played very, very well against Arsenal. Very unlucky that game. Goal scorers, I've done it again. I'm so sorry. Palace are there. Palace Forest, sorry. I think Munoz will score, and I think Benassar will score. Forest, I think Gibbs White score. Everton, Brighton. Everton, I think that Grealish. And for Brighton, I think Rutter will definitely start. Fulham United. I'm going to go 3-1 United. Because I don't think that their defence got that much better. Obviously, I'd say they defended on average very well against Arsenal. Again, big team show up in certain games because of rivalry. So I think the Fulham will score, but I think United's thoughts is. I think Fulham's goal scorer will be. I think that young bloke King. I think he'll bag. And for Manchester United, I'm going to go for. I'm going to go. Whoever gets 2 and gets 1. I don't think Cunha goal. But I think he'll dictate the play along. I think Nesco will start, but I think he'll be a bit of a ghost man. Finally, juicy one, the juicy fixture. Newcastle versus Liverpool. Hear me out, genuinely. I think Newcastle wins. I genuinely think Newcastle win too. And it's gonna be a replay of Carabao final last season. Obviously Isak played a massive part in that. But I think when the Isak door closes, Gordon door opens. That's why he's going to score 2. Gordon's going to get a brace against his hometown club, if you like. And I think for Liverpool, I think Cody Gakpo, and I think Salah link up the gaff, as it's called, again for 3 games on a bounce out. This is what predictions are for, but imagine now just Salah going to score a hat-trick. Anyway, yeah, I think Newcastle win 2-1, and mainly that is because I think Liverpool get put on the counter a lot. And it's a bit like, as a City fan, I've got used to that. We always give teams a chance. And so I think Tottenham we very rarely give, like against Wolves, I thought defensive were actually very solid compared to what we've been through last season. But again, that is massive. James Trafford, a proper shot stopper in my opinion. That's Edison. There you go. And Stones and Diaz in a partnership. I really love those two together at the back is phenomenal. And 8 Nora as well. People say, oh, defensive, you can't hack it. You can't. Yeah, I just think I think Liverpool against Palace and Bournemouth, they both gave teams a chance, many a chances. A very, very easy counter. And the rumour is Frimpong's injured, I think he is, but I think Bradley's injured as well, which probably means Szoboszlai's playing right back, then means inverted at the back, but then Kirk is his left centre back, starting Van Dijk. He's going forward is frightening, to say the least. You know, you can have a Langer, Gordon and Harvey Barnes, it's an equaliser. That pace is very, very good, and with a midfield of, Joe Linton, Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, I think they're gonna score counter, golden goals. I think Newcastle are gonna be up. With all this Isak saga that's going on, first home game in a season, St. James's Park's always tough to go. Adding on to the Isak whole debacle and this game in a season, at their place obviously going to be massive in this game. And I don't think Liverpool are as good as everyone thinks they are. Obviously they're going to be second, third, but I'll say they're going to walk the title. No way. As I was saying in my prediction, I'll watch that, go watch it now. I said City going to win the league, and I think I said said Arsenal second, third, and that's just on the basis that Liverpool, from what I've seen of them so far, before that video was made, and all I saw was the Community Shield pretty much. Liverpool pre-season friendlies, but probably still. They gave Palace so many. Palace had so many chances compared to what everyone thought they'd have. Massive. If one team on a day is clinical, every shot they take pretty well. Liverpool can feel it. Like for example, if City Liverpool play and Haaland gets 2 chances and scores them both, obviously that's going to work. But I think that is what Liverpool are going for this season. I think, well, obviously they're not aimed to goals, but I think their plan is if you score, we'll score. Something like that. Like we're going to outscore you. You know, whatever you have, we're going to have a better attack than you with Salah, Ekiti, Gakpo, so we're going to have a better attack. We're going to have a better midfield. Alistair, Szoboszlai, and Birch. And we're going to have better back three. Alright, and like, and then relying on that. On an individual quality. Last, again, isn't a bad way to go about it. You know, when you've just spent 150 million quid on a central attacking midfielder from Germany, obviously you'd expect to score more goals than your opponent. I think Liverpool are going to hurt away from home against bigger and better sides, like, for example, Newcastle, Manchester City. United is going to give them a really good game. Even Tottenham could give Liverpool a good batter. Chelsea is going to back up Arsenal, for example. Forest could hurt Liverpool. Palace could hurt Liverpool, as we've seen. Bournemouth at there, like, there's a lot of key factors that Liverpool can get hurt by. And I think they have slightly recovered those departments, as I was saying. We always used to off the counter and give away chances on the counter, and that's right, those tend to be brought in, ignoring out. You know, just really quick defensive players, and Pep's done his tactics so we kind of annihilate the possibility of a counter attack. I mean, obviously having Rodri in, I think that's what Liverpool are going to try and do with Szoboszlai going into mid, as inverted, put him in the middle. If they get the ball off you, don't get it out. The ball back pretty well. But again, Newcastle midfield quality, the whole versus for Viet, Roman, Long, Pocket. I think Szoboszlai, Birch and McAllister pretty much against 2 all that time, or against middle. They're going to overhaul them, pressing wise, they're going to outnumber them. That's that, genuinely. Overall, I think the player of the game week, I'd say like Ryan doesn't play the game week from game week 1. I think this one, and you could just say I could just say God or 2 against Liverpool, but I'm gonna go with Adam Wharton. Adam Wharton's gonna have an absolute massive Forest. That's Parkinson. Yeah, but other than that, guys, make sure to go down in the description and of our Twitch and TikTok. Make sure to go give them a follow, and make sure to like and subscribe and click the notification bell if you haven't already.